Make we check on na two head them they use we go know. But now after we go know. Whether not truth or whether not lie them go blow.
I don't think I ever saw telephone until I came to Lagos. So, but there was telephone in my principal's office. But how many times did I enter my principal's office? You know, we were told there was telephone there. And I think when we went inside by accident, we saw the phone. You know, we never saw him use it.
Okay, you kept saying we aside you.
Yeah. No, there are some.
You mentioned some other names, people who were behind the liberalization.
Even if I know, I will not mention names because I will not be able to remember all the names. I mean, this is an opportunity really to mention the names, especially those who are no longer living. It will have been very good record, but I can't remember them. And I don't want to mention only those that are still living, you know, and there are not many. There are not many. Those who really worked hard and who we looked up to, many of them are no longer living. And if I mention some and I don't mention some, I don't think it is fair.
Maybe 2 or 3.
Yes, I can mention those who are in a generation above us, not in my generation. You know, I don't want to mention those in my generation. By Nigerian standards, our industry was very, very well managed, even by African standards. But it wasn't managed sufficiently well to the extent that it could attract the best and world-renowned investors. I stand to be challenged or corrected. World-class investors did not opt for our industry.
MTN, Econet, came in.
Those are not world-class investors. They are African. They are African investors like us. I don't mean any prejudice. I mean, they also came up at the time that we did all this struggling. You know, they came up to fill spaces when we had identified how we should go. Even among us too here, some of us who were advocates, we allowed some of us to go into investment. Some of us said, look, we have to remain in advocacy for investors, for investment to thrive. Because if all of us followed the opportunities of investment and there was nobody to advocate, we might just go back to where we're coming from. So some people went into investment. But I can tell you that our environment did not help a lot. Did not help. It wasn't for lack of knowledge of what to do. It wasn't. It was for the fact that some people who were in strategic places were not selfless enough, if they were selfless at all. Selflessness does not even help those who are selfless. Because most of the people that we knew, that we could say, oh, this was here, I don't know. What became of them? Nothing really. You know, the whole thing was just getting destroyed.
Let's look at the auction. Do you think the auction was properly conducted?
That was documented. It was documented that it was properly conducted. Yes, within the advocacy, what many of us advocated for was not as good as what those who handled it eventually did. In fact, it became quarrel among us because we had ideas. They too had their own ideas. And we could not harmonize those ideas at that time. Fortunately, their own ideas was better. We didn't know that, of course. I mean, we thought we were trading ideas. But I think I was one of those who quickly realized that, yes, you see, when you are in an argument and you see superior argument, bow and let's move forward. Some people don't have that kind of attitude. Once they take a position, they don't know how to bend. They don't know how to accept when there was superior technical argument. I thank God that I have that kind of ability. I mean, if we are arguing, if I'm making my argument, some people will think that nobody can convince that guy. Nobody can convince him. But you just need to say something technically superior to my argument. You will see me bowing for the argument, and we will move forward. We also started selling that kind of idea to ourselves. And I think with the support of those who did not believe in what was going to happen, with the support of the government of the day at that time, yeah, they gave the commission what we consider to be good support. We might not know all the details, but we thought the support was good. They were giving, yeah, the support is just free hand, let me tell you. The support the commission needs is free hand.
But the regulator at that time was criticized for disqualifying a Nigerian company, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, with reasons, of course. I don't know the details again. There were sound reasons. It wasn't that they couldn't have disqualified anybody because he was Nigerian, but it would not make sense to just qualify somebody just because he was Nigerian. And I wasn't one of the consultants that did the work. I didn't do that kind of work. But I can tell you that during evaluation, yes, we give some reasonable consideration to local content in all that we did. But you don't give local content by just saying that it is only local that you will use. No, you don't do that. You look for the best. We call it the best evaluated. But during that evaluation, you've already given enough opportunity for local content to thrive if it had anything to bring to the table. And I believed those who were there were doing good job. And one of the things that we really need, which we exercised at that time, was that when you put people in position, please, for God's sake, give them the permission to work. Give them the freedom to work. Don't want to know it more than them. If you knew it more than them, you shouldn't have chosen them in the first instance. So I believe that if you choose anybody and put him in place, give him free hand. Yes, they were giving free hand. Of course, it's not everybody that uses free hand successfully, you know.
How would you rate the regulator that midwifed the auction led by engineer Ndukwe, you know, as an engineer and a pioneer in the industry, assessing his performance at that time?
Well, let's talk about the performance of the entire commission. Yes, I mean, they took very fine decisions, and the industry did very well. But I don't want to personalize it so that, I mean, Ndukwe is my friend, so I don't want to personalize it. We talk of the commission at that time, but he was the eye of the commission. So, and yeah, he should take credit, but that's not to come from some of us who are his friends, so that we don't sound as if we're saying that because he's our friend. So
the industry has moved from that time from Ministry of Communication to Ministry of Comtech. Now we are now known as the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. How has that struck you as, as a professional in the sector?
Development is not about naming. Naming does not count when you are talking of development. If I am to use engineering analysis, if we put all the indices of development, some quantities will take about 20-30%. Naming will take about maybe 1%. So what you call anything is not the issue. But when you have thoughts that are not grounded, they will be bringing in unnecessary issues and be weighting those unnecessary issues as if they are the capital issues. A Ministry of Communications is an everlasting name for a communication industry that wants to develop. As a matter of fact, when we were working as, remember I told you that because we are only engineers, there are some things we did that if we had had other professionals thinking along with us, we probably would have done things faster, if not better. We were saying we were looking for Nigerian Telecommunications Authority. In fact, that was the nomenclature that we were putting in our documentation when we were advocating for liberalization. It was the lawyers somewhere, I think in the ministry, who chose the name Nigerian Communications Commission. That was a super name. And we grudgingly accepted it, only to learn later on that was how it should be. Well, they saw many things that we probably didn't see. I don't know the things, but part of it was that they read the American literature. They aped some things. There was the FCC there, and before FCC, there had been some other nomenclature, so they read those history. We were talking about technology. We were not talking about history. But if we had sat down and been talking with historians, with lawyers, with accountants, and everybody, and all of us were thinking together, we would have got a better result, faster, cheaper, better. But then, that is all history now. I had when we now have Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy. Well, it doesn't make sense to me, I must confess to you. Ministry of Communications is Ministry of Communications. The digital economy aspect of it is today's relevance. And, well, if anybody is thinking like those who thought that out, by the time they leave, another person will think of something else. They will just be destabilizing us. They will just be destabilizing that market and spending energy on unnecessary things. Yeah. I heard recently that you guys brought identity people, identity.
The national
NIMC,
yes.
National Identity Management Commission. I understand you people brought them into Ministry of Communication.
Yes, not the Ministry of Communications.
You tell me, is that communication?
Yeah,
No, you tell me, is it communication? You can answer that. You don't have to be an engineer to answer that.
Identity management.
Yes.
Because the world is going digital.
Yes.
Identity management becomes very critical for the management of national identity.
Yes.
And it behoves on the technology industry to manage that. I guess that's probably the reason the government would have moved that to.
Oh, well, good luck. You have 2023 there. Somebody will come with another idea. These are not ideas that are futuristic.
Do you have an issue with the?
Oh, of course. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make... Well, it may make sense, only that I don't know it as we speak. You have not defended it from what you have said. I have asked you a question. Then you can just go and bring... Because university education is very critical, very, very important. Bring it to Ministry of Communications and call it technological education or something. Everything is important. Everything is critical. But next question.
But I'm still not convinced why.
No, it's not as if I say it is wrong. I'm only saying I am not convinced it is right. You know,
you convinced me why you think it's right.
If there is a Ministry of Communications, you will talk about communications. What is communication? What has it got to do with identity management? It doesn't make sense. But if you keep on pressing me, it will look as if I'm fighting with the issue. It's nothing to quarrel about. But I can tell you that it will be reverted. When you are doing things and government is doing this, they are reverting it, you are doing it, you are short-circuiting our future by the fact that you are thinking low. I mean, from what I have gone through in life, I cannot be happy seeing the industry taking 2 steps backward, making 1 forward. Eventually, the sum total movement will be negative. Let's discuss other important issues.
And then you resigned from the industry.
Oh yes, I resigned.
At what?
Yeah, because I saw all this kind of nonsense. Yes, I mean, I saw them coming. Many of them will still come.
Is there a reason to resign?
Oh, several. Well, first of all, I was already finished with industry, and I was back to come and support my community. I want to work for my community now. I had been out for 50 years working for Nigeria, and I had prayed to the Almighty, if I spend 50 years outside, and after 50 years I am still living, God, please, let me be able to go back and then serve my community for the rest of my life. And I had come back to do that, to start doing that, when Senator Olabi Idrojaye approached me and told me he had read my CV and that he wanted me to come and help in some things. And we discussed. And then after some discussion, I eventually accepted to chair the Digital Bridge Institute. You see, that was a civilized way of appointment. I was invited. It was discussed with me. And I was given a chance to consider whether I wanted to do it or not. And I told the sage, let me call that man a sage, you know, that senator. I mean, I respect him a lot. And I told him, yes, I will do my best. Even though I did not believe much at that time in the system. The system wasn't at the level I would like to operate. But because he had called me, I went there. And he had a vision. He had a vision, very, very clear vision, which I thought if I contributed to making him even see part of the vision in his lifetime, that I would have been fulfilled. Yes, I would have been fulfilled.
So what was the state of the DBI?
Yes.
That you met when you got there?
Well, DBI was in confusion when we got there. It was in litigation of various kinds. You know, it was in litigation. Some of his staff virtually all his staff were demoralized for reasons that they had cause to be, because the system was not properly run. The Senator Durojaye, saw all those things, and he thought it needed to be handled carefully by appointing a board to look into many things. He discussed some of those things with me. And by the time I got there, he had already even given me a working paper to say that by appointing a board, those things might just be looked into very carefully. But you see, those who supervise it, the institute, I'm not sure they saw the need for a board. You know, they were just marking their time, and they were wanting to operate as if there was no board. And I wanted to institute, I wanted to establish the fact that there was a board. And I noticed that that point was going to cost an arm and a leg to make. And I thought that I could just excuse myself out of the place. But yes.
Before we come to that,
yes.
I wanted to ask what is the vision, actually, the vision and mission of DBI to the industry?
Yes, the vision was good. DBI was established at a time when you talk about the GSM boost. The industry was expanding, and it certainly needed to train skills in technology and in, delivering the industry. That industry is supposed to serve the economy, to serve all other industries. So you really needed to develop skills, and that was why it was established. It was established as a skill development for the emerging telecommunications industry. And as things were also, evolving, it migrated into training skills in information and communication technology. By the time we were there, we had already raised the mission to training skills for the world to hire. You see, before it was set up for training skills for our youth in Nigeria to develop the industry in Nigeria. At the time we were there, we had seen the need to develop skills that Nigeria could even hire to the world. Because we had the reserve, we saw the reserve, we could do it. But you need to do it under very competent administration. You see, and I felt that those who were supervising us did not see the need for that board. And they were still running it as if the board did not exist. And in trying to make the case, I was, spending too much energy. I was spending too much energy in explaining things. But the final thing that happened that really got me angry was that the senator who appointed me there, he was just removed without explanation. He was removed without any reason, without even informing him about why. And I knew that would happen though, because I saw the quality of things that were coming up. And so, but if that board was dissolved, because it was a very good board that was set up. I mean, if you look at the profile of those who are on the board, there are people who know their onions. When we were constituted, I read about everybody, and by the time we were being inaugurated, I knew that I was working with a very good team. It was a very good team. I think we were 10. And if we are looking at professionals that are sound, you can count many. I don't want to say what number, but and in such a, it's not usual for boards in Nigeria to be constituted of professionals. It's not usual. You usually see politicians on boards, and politicians, you know their goal, you know their mission, but when it is professionals, it's a different ball game. I mean, when I say I'm satisfied, I'm not saying I'm satisfied by what I did. I'm saying I'm satisfied by what the board did. No, we took very good decisions. These are not decisions that I want to go into specific things, but they were very sound decisions that did not satisfy some people, but they could not fault us. That is when you do something that is nice. Those who are dissatisfied with what you have done, they will just have to eat their regret, because they can't fault you. They know if they want to fault you, they will be talking rubbish. You know, so that kind of situation existed. I mean, every decision we took angered somebody somewhere. Oh, naturally, when things are going wrong and you want to correct it, the moment you successfully correct it, you create problem for some people who were benefiting from that
when you
wrong
take
situation.
Resignation to the NCC,
yes.
What was their response to your resignation?
Up till today, there's no response to my resignation. Up till I'm talking to you, I have not received any response, either verbally or in text. In fact, nobody. Yeah, my resignation is very difficult to respond to. Yeah, because I stated in the resignation letter why I resigned. I didn't say for private reasons. You know, when you say for private reasons, you leave room for people to read meanings. Some people will say that they told him to retire, to resign. They wanted to fire him. You know, they will bring up. If I write to you and I tell you the reason why I'm resigning.
What the reason
Yeah.
that you
I thought you said I sent it to you.
Yes.
I published it.
Yes.
Yes. No, I've already told you the reason. The reason was that system they run in NCC, the relationship of NCC to DBI does not recognize the existence of a board. It did not recognize that there is a board and that the board has responsibilities. It was like, the people are there, we do how we are doing it, they will just be clacking it out. No, I didn't run a board that was to clack anything, no. I ran a board that took responsibility for everything that happened from day one to the day I left. Yes, and I'm ready to still be responsible for everything,
Are you saying that the NCC may not have been comfortable with some of those?
Oh, definitely. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But they never took it up with me. Oh, yes. I wrote reports to say we have done this, we have done this, we have done this. No response. But I heard that they said, your chairman is saying what is not correct. Your chairman is not saying the right thing. But they didn't tell me that I was saying the wrong thing. If you write something to somebody and he does not write back to you to say you are wrong, you take it to mean that you are right. So that's it. But if he now goes to somebody to say, somebody he knows that will eventually tell me that I'll just tell the person, I don't want to hear side stories. The person I wrote to has accepted that I'm right. So no matter what you heard outside, that one are fake news. Fake news. But I'm happy about the 16 months that I spent in DBI. I had disconnected from the industry since 2013. So I didn't know many things that was happening to DBI. So I came back 2018, 5 years after, and I was able to collect all the information of what had gone wrong, and we were able to put them in proper places. Those proper places could not have satisfied everybody. but they were good for the institute. Yes. Well, I mean, if somebody was benefiting from what is going wrong in the institute, and then we stop things. I mean, what do you want him to say? He will tell you that they are mad. Yeah, and then we write it down that we have done it, that we are asking you to accept that we have done it, and then you keep quiet. We will assume that you have accepted that we are good to go. And after every report, we were moving. Yes, we were not checked. We were not told, oh, you did the wrong thing. Some people even thought that, this one you want to do, they will not be happy. And I was just wondering, who should be happy? This is Nigeria. You know, who should be happy? It's Nigeria. For me, it is Nigeria that must be happy. I don't, whatever, who, anywhere. Yes, of course, I respect many people. And I tell you, I respect Senator Rojaye. Because at his age, the kind of mandate that was coming out of him, driven from his vision, they made me look inadequate at my own young age, at his own old age. So I saw the job as a challenge to even be able to do what he told us to go and do. But while we were doing this, he was just removed without any. He was not even given. Okay, I don't know whether he was written to. No, as at the time he was talking to me, I phoned him to say that, excuse me, sir, I heard that you have been removed. He said, I heard that too. and you know, that is the real Nigeria. Yeah, that is the real Nigeria. That's not the Nigeria of my vision. But
this is my last question. The NCC you knew before.
Yes.
You disconnected from the industry.
Yes.
And the NCC you later came back to meet.
Yes.
How would you compare? Any comparison? What has changed? What has improved?
I disconnected from NCC when I knew things started going wrong. Yes, I deliberately disconnected.
What year was this?
This was, I think, 2011, 2012. Yes, I saw that the culture that the founding fathers spent energy to build was beginning to be destroyed. Destroyed. Not all because of what they were doing within the commission, but even from outside, even the amount of pressures that the National Assembly was bringing down on them at that time. To me, I thought that the National Assembly was only playing to the gallery, that Nigerians would think that they are working for Nigerians. And all their actions, to me, were looking like they just wanted to destroy the commission. You won't blame that on the commission, would you? No, so I won't blame that on the commission. And I take that to show to you that it was not only within the commission, but then quality also degenerated. And at that time, I thought I should tee off. Because don't forget that I have had a relationship with the commission since it was established. And when you have that kind of relationship and with the kind of status and respect that they were able to build themselves to reach, if there is a turnaround, yeah, it was good for people like me to find our way out of it.
The NCC you mentioned.
Yeah, they are not the same thing, but it's just like every other thing. Just like every other thing. I don't know many industries that reached the level of development that NCC reached. I don't know many. I mean, I can't even mention one. Can't even. Not even some of the private sector, those that we call big companies. No, I don't think so.
As we wrap up this interview, what's your message to the industry, the stakeholders, and investors, and the likes?
You see, investment in Nigeria are generally not based on very sound studies. When you try to base investment on sound study, most of the time you end up not investing because the environment is so hostile and so unstable that investment is constantly on its toes. And one of the things that NCC had that was going for it was the freedom to regulate at a point in its life. And that was good for investment, but you could still forecast that government didn't have the kind of temperament that the industry needed for people who are sound in studying a market to come and invest in our market. So many world-class investors will not just do it. To that extent, I think investors need to be very concerned about the independence of NCC, because once that is lost, investment is a danger. And that's why those world-class people will not come to start with, because there is nothing to show you that independence, even if it is there now, that you continue to be there. And I can tell you that independence is almost gone. It's almost gone, if it is not gone. I don't participate in the industry now, so I don't read it from day to day. I don't do anything on telecommunications now. I don't read about telecommunications. I mean, if I read about telecommunications, it will just be to the extent that I want to participate in bringing about realization of the mandates of the Nigerian Academy of Engineering. Yes. So I'm retooling myself in view of my present assignments to that academy to begin to show a renewed interest. When I left in 2013, I switched off. And during that period, each time I heard what happened, I saw a blank future. You know, I saw poor decisions being taken, and many of them in recent times.
Wow. Engr Titi Omo-Ettu, always a pleasure talking to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, come, make we go. Make we go to all the places where we talk, so we go like to go before. Make we go, make we see. What you learn and do for here, make we feel and make we check. I mean, not too head and they use we go low. But now after we go know. Whether or not truth, whether or not lie, them we glow. Oh yeah, come, make we go. Oh yeah, come, make we go. Oh yeah, come, make we go. Make we go to all the places where we talk, so we go like to go before. Make we go, make we see. What you learn and do for here, make we feel and make we check. I mean, not too head and they use we go low. That's how we learn something. We go know if not true, when I like them we blow. Oh yeah, come, make we go. Oh yeah, come, make we go. I know people keep on telling me there's nothing like a miracle if you try in this circle of life. But I am an example. I know that you can make it in this life if only you try to stand up and pick up your chest to learn about Nobody tell you make you settle for less. Whenever you afraid, just hold my hand. Sharp, sharp, show, make we holler, let it go. Oh yeah, come, make we go. Make we go to all the places where we talk, so we would like to go before. Make we go, make we see. What you learn do for real, make we feel, make we check, and if not two head, them they use, we go know. But now after we go know. Better not truth, better not lie, them they glow. Oh yeah, come, make we go. Oh yeah, come, make we go. Oh yeah, come, make we go. Make we go to all the places where we talk, so we would like to go before. Make we go, make we see. What you learn do for real, make we feel, make we check, and if not two head, them they use, we go know. That's how we learn something. We go know if not true, and I like them to blow. Oh yeah, come, make we go. Oh yeah, come, make we go.
Wow, that was the exclusive with Engineer Titi Omo-Ettu. I want to say a very big thank you to Engineer Titi Omo-Ettu for granting us access to his country home. If you're in Ijebode, why not? You can also visit B&B, okay, wonderful restaurant, very good for your party, birthday party as well, your wedding ceremony. You can go there, as you can see on your screen. We had a wonderful weekend there. On behalf of the production crew, I want to say a big thank you for your time today. Don't forget to reach us on the numbers and email now showing on your screen. You can also watch this on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production crew, once again, thank you, and I'll see you next time.